we do some review for tissues, and then we talking about the muscles. Yeah. So tissues, we say that's a pretty similar group of the cells and some space between or something between perform special functions. So tissues will have 4 big groups: epithelial tissue, connective tissue, muscular tissue, and nervous tissue. So that's 4 big groups for the tissue. And each of the group, they located in special part of the bodies. Like epithelial tissue, generally say they cover superficial of the body, like a superficial of the skin. And also they cover of all hollow organ, internally. And some body cavity, like a pleural cavity, abdominal cavity, and cover some duct, like we have a lot of duct coming from liver or gallbladder, they cover there. So that together is one part here for epithelial tissue. Another part of epithelial tissue, they form the grass. Yeah, they form the grass. So that's mainly epithelial tissue. Truly, epithelial tissue look like everywhere of the body. Another big group, we say that's connective tissue. Connective tissue even more commonly inside of body, in like everywhere, still like everywhere. So that's connective tissue. And the connective tissue is more complicated. Like we have subcategory there for connective tissue. Yeah. Then another group is muscular tissue. Yeah, muscular tissue. So muscular tissue separate with 3 different parts. Some muscular tissue, they like attaching to the bone. Yeah, skeleton means bone. They are attaching to the bone and control the bone movement. That's one group. Another group, we call it smooth tissue. Yeah, smooth muscular tissue. So that's basically from the internal hollow organs, like a stomach, like a small intestine, large intestine. That's by smooth tissue. And some smooth tissue, like a covered cartilage in the bronchi tree, yeah, also. The third group of the muscular tissue is from the heart, yeah, from the heart muscles. That's we call cardiac musculars, yeah, cardiac. So cardiac is the medical word for heart. We use for lot of place. Some book, they put like hard muscular tissue with other organs tissue together. They call smooth. tissues, but some books they separate. So that's muscular tissue. Then the fourth one is nervous tissue. Certainly, nervous tissue form the nervous systems. Nervous systems we have CNS, central nervous systems, that's composed by the brain and the spinal cord, and also PNS. PNS basically is some nervous bunch. So that's totally we have 4 groups of the tissues. So still remember we're talking about the body. From smallest one is the cells. Like a first class, we're talking about cells. Cells is independent life unit. And a group of the cells together and perform the similar function, we say that's the tissue. From smaller to bigger. Then we're talking about the organ and the systems later. So that's basically we have 4 groups of the tissues. And they have different shape. They have different shape. That's epithelial tissue in different part of body. And some epithelial tissue form the glands. And under the epithelial tissue, under the epithelial tissue, basically they have a basement membrane. It's a pretty thin. It's not truly have cells in there, it's a layer in there. So 8 functions, 8 functions are touching and support for the epithelial tissue. Especially in epithelial tissue, they don't have blood vessels, don't have blood supply. They only have nerves. So that means some blood supply from basement membrane. Just like this picture, just like this picture. So separate from here, that belong to epithelial tissue. Above part, is the epithelial kind of cells in there. And then we have this part is the memory, basement memory. And under it is the connective tissue. So that's some blood coming from here and then go to nourishing upward. Then we're talking about connective tissue. Connective tissue is more complicated part. They perform mainly function like we say, bonding together, connected each other. That's the mainly function. Support, make it stronger, protections, and also some of them storage for the energy. And the connective tissue will have few different connective tissues. We separate by 5 different types or groups. So by their structures, we separate loosening connective tissue and dense connective tissue. basically we're talking about the fabric in the connective tissue. Is loose or dense. Another group is the cartilage. Yeah, cartilage. Cartilage just like a soft bone. Soft bone. Then we truly have bone tissue belong to connective tissue. Then we have another group. We call it liquid connective tissue. So liquid connective tissue means our blood and our liver belong to connective tissue. So totally we have 5 big groups of connective tissue. And you can see some pictures like easy understanding what means loose connective tissue. Certainly we have some subgroup here, we are not necessary to remember. So that's example, some loose connective tissue, different form, coming from different part of the body, still different form in there. And then we're talking about dense connective tissues, still coming from different part of the body. That's some different dense kind of connective tissue. Yeah, we are not necessary to remember the subcategory. We just remember the big category here. And the third big category is the cartilage. Yeah, cartilage. So cartilage itself, basically other connective tissue, they will have blood vessels. They will have nerve bunch. But for the cartilage connective tissue, they don't have blood vessels and they don't have nerves. So like we do ear acupuncture, we put a needle there, yeah. So basically our ear is the cartilage, yeah, and certainly cover for some connective tissue and some epithelial tissue there. But basically your needle go to the cartilage part, it's no pain and not cause bleeding. Truly, when you're passing the connective tissue and the epithelial tissue, maybe cause some pain and some bleeding. So that's the cartilage forms a lot of part of our bodies. We still have some subcategory. We still not necessary to remember. Yeah, just more understanding. For different kind of the cartilage. Yeah, different kind of cartilage. Then we're talking about bone tissue. Remember, we're still on the connective tissue here. Yeah, connective tissue will have 5 different types, big, like a big category. Yeah, big category. So the first one is loose connective tissue. Second one is dense connective tissue. Third one is the cartilage. Then we go to fourth one, bone tissue. Bone tissue. So we are in the connective tissue now. Connective tissue. So bone tissue basically form our body bones. Body bones. And they have some special function from the shape of our body, and they also have bone marrows. Bone marrows, especially red bone marrows, they have a very important functions, producing blood cells. When we're talking about blood cells, we're talking about red blood cell, white blood cell, and platelets. All of these three blood cells mainly producing by red bone marrows. Yeah. For red blood cell, for platelets, only producing in the red bone marrows. White blood cells, some of them may be coming from other organ or tissue, but mainly coming from red bone marrow. And we also have yellow bone marrow. Yellow bone marrow basically is storage for fat. So that's the bone tissue. So we say red bone marrow in the ending part of the long bone, or maybe on some flat bone. So that in your anatomy you will learn four different kind of bone. Yeah, flat bone, long bone, irregular bone, so short bone. So that's totally four. Red bone marrow mainly on the ending part of long bone and some flat bone. Yellow bone marrow mainly located in the center of the cavity of the long bone. So that's about your bone connective tissue. Then the last one, we are still in the connective tissue, liquid connective tissue. We say liquid connective tissue including blood, including the liver. So mainly function both transmission function, especially for the blood, transmission for the nutrition, transmission for some important gas, like we say oxygen is part of nutrition, and the carbon dioxide is part of waste production. And also some other means, or maybe hormones. So it's a transmission lot of things. Liver systems functionally belong to our immunity systems. So that's basically clear and kill some pathogens systems, like filter systems. So that's in the blood systems, we have different kind of blood cells, red blood cell, yeah, and the white blood cell, we have 5 different kinds, and the platelets. So now we finished connected systems. Yeah, remember we are in the big category here. The first one, yeah, usually tissues is pretty confusing. Yeah, tissues. We have 4 big tissues. Yeah, 4 big tissues. The first one, epithelial tissue. Yeah, epithelial tissue. Second one, connective tissue. Connective tissue we have 5. First one is loose. Second one is the dense. Third one is the cartilage. The cartilage. or soft bone tissue. Fourth one is the bone tissue. Fifth one is the liquid tissue, including blood and lymph. Then we go to the third big category here, muscular tissue. Yeah, that's the third big category. So muscular tissue, we say we have three different kind muscular tissue. Skeletal muscular tissue. Skeletal muscular tissue is the muscular tissue attaching to the bone. That's basically control or movement. That's mainly. And also control or eyes some functions. And the heart, yeah, cardiac muscular tissue. That's mainly from the wall of the heart. So that's it control involuntarily. Yeah, involuntarily. So that's basically, yeah. Yeah, we our time go back. Yeah, our time go back 12:30. Yeah, no worries. We just review for last week class. Yeah, we just start review for last week class. But our time start from today. We go back 12:30. Exactly the same like our school schedule there. The new schedule, they changing. So still, you can put your name on our chat pad. Yeah, put your name on the chat pad. I will pick up your name later. Yeah, like during our break. Yeah, everybody coming for the class for your attendance. You still can put your name on the chat pad, and I will pick up your name later. Yeah, usually I will pick up during the class. Yeah, during the class. So like if you put your name before or like a break, yeah, I will pick up name during the break. Yeah, just don't forget. Yeah, just don't forget. Don't forget to put your name there. That's start from this semester. School ask for attendance like every week. Like before, just by the end of the semester, then they ask for attendance. Now they ask for attendance every week, like every each of the class. Yeah, every each of the class. So just don't forget put your name on the chat pad before or break time. Yeah, or maybe during the break time. So that's we talking about cardiac muscular tissue there. And then we go to another one we call smooth muscular tissue. Yeah, smooth muscular tissue. So smooth muscular tissue, basically it formed hollow organs. Yeah, the wall of the hollow organs. We have a lot of hollow organs inside the body. Like we commonly talking about the stomach, intestine, and also like blood vessels, like your bladder and maybe gallbladder, hollow organs. So these kind of muscle movement still involuntarily. That means we couldn't control. Yeah, we couldn't control. It automatically controlled there. Automatically controlled. Like you don't need to worry about your heart. Like when you tell the heart beating there, when you stop there, they continually beating there. So that automatically control there. And you also don't need to worry, like after eating, like how they digestion. They automatically control and help you digestion. So that's for the muscular tissues located in different parts of the body, and they have their individual functions. So that's skeletal muscles tissues. They look like this, yeah. And here is the hard muscles. Yeah, hard muscles look like. And here is the smooth muscle coming from the artery. Yeah, this one is coming from the artery. Then we go to the last tissue is the nervous tissue. Yeah, nervous tissue. So nervous tissue, yeah, remember we are in the tissues part. Number 1, axillary tissue. Number 2, connective tissue. Number 3, muscular tissue. Number 4, nervous tissue. We say nervous tissue form the nervous systems. Basically, they have 2 different kind of cells in the nervous tissue. Why we call nervous, also called nervous cells, that perform the mainly function in the nervous system. Another one we call neuroglia. Sometimes we just simply call glial cells. 8 functions, mainly performing protector, nourishing, and support nervous cells, or maybe some kind of repair. So that's basically in the nerve tissues and its cells. So that's the picture. Yeah, that's the picture coming from our spinal cord. Some nervous cells in there and form the nervous system. And the nervous cells, basically they have one nucleus, and the cell body some memory here, but especially for nervous cells, they have some dendrites, like the branch of the tree coming out from the nervous cells. And then they have a pretty long tail, like the picture, even longer. That's we call axons. So that's especially coming from the nervous cells.